So if you're new to the Amazon space, you're just trying to figure out what you want to buy, you will find that you will need a tool or an extension that will extract Amazon sales rank to its own projected sales volume, which can effectively help your buying decisions. And since SellerAmp is such a low monthly cost, it is unequivocally a value buy and such a good thing to add to your repertoire of tools that will help you with your buying decisions. What is going on, Amazon sellers? Welcome to the Flips Nation channel. My name is Rob and I do about 20K a month on Amazon FBA doing primarily online arbitrage. Now I'll get right into the SellerAmp and sourcing video. Just drop me a like and sub if this video helps you out. And there's a link below to the free Amazon FBA Flips Nation Discord group if you're interested. Now enough of this, let's get on to the video. So let's jump right into what SellerAmp is, what it provides, and its functions that will impact your buying decisions, as it really does provide much more than just give you a projected sales volume. It has a bunch of other functions. And in addition to going over these functions, I'll go over on my screen and do a live source, meaning I'll go on my screen and look for products online that I'll find profitable that I could sell onto Amazon. And if you are interested in other live sourcing videos that I've done, I'll drop that link below. And at the end of this video, if it does help you to decide that you do want to get SellerAmp, I'll drop a link to where you can purchase SellerAmp in the description as well. So while I source, I'm going to be using SellerAmp so you can get a real good feel of how to use SellerAmp in conjunction to looking for items online. And first things first, I'm going to go through SellerAmp and showcase all the different functions it has and ways it can help you as an online arbitrage seller. Okay, so now here we are on my screen, and after you have installed SellerAmp extension, you'll see here on the top right or on the right side. And I'll first go over to this listing. This is a random, the Nike 270 listing I'm just going to use for example purposes. So I can just go through the SellerAmp panels and just let you know which ones that I use frequently and which ones are just more useful for me. So on the top panel here, it shows the listing information such as the ASIN right here, and you can copy it easily like this. It's copied like that. Okay, so it's copied. Moving forward, on the next panel, it'll show you if you're eligible to sell the product right here. If I wasn't eligible for like a brand that I was gated for, it would not be saying yes, but I am ungated for Nike, so it says yes. Furthermore, it shows you there's estimated sales rank, or sorry, estimated sales volume. And remember, this is just extracting what Amazon already gives us, which is the sales rank, and this projects what the monthly sales are projected to be based on that seller's rank per that product's category. Okay, so then the next panel here gives us what would be our ROI in relation to our cost if it were to sell at this projected sell price. So let's say for a 9.5, so buy box is $129. So $128.99, maybe we're getting it for $80. So it's projecting that we'll make $22 profit, which is about 27% ROI. So this top part is really the bread and butter. It's one of the main things that I use. If I scroll down here, all this stuff is pretty self-explanatory. I shouldn't have to go through this in detail. Now, if you plan to FBM a product, you can toggle this to merchant fulfilled or FBM right here, FBA, FBM, FBA. So if I toggled it to FBM, if I scroll up here, it'll show that it's not going to include that FBA fulfillment fee, but you will replace it with your usually more expensive shipping costs, right? So right here now it's showing me a profit of $29, ROI 37, but your shipping is probably going to be for this type of shoe, 1 unit, UPS, roughly around $10. That's really dependent on how far you're sending it and whatnot. But yes, you can toggle it to FBM to show you what it would be without that FBA fulfillment fee. And also for full transparency, you can actually view down here. It shows you your total fees. See how if I toggle this, where is it? Sorry. If I toggle FBA here, it'll include the fulfillment FBA fee. Toggle it off, it's gone, right? So really cool feature here. FBM'd a lot during these holidays, so it was very useful to use. And you can also toggle small and light right here. It says small and light. If you want to say yes, It'll update to the small and light fees. See, it's a little slightly less, and that's only if your product is in fact enrolled into the small and light program. Now, if you scroll back up here, you can also see that it shows the Keepa graph conveniently on the SellerAmp panel. And if you're not aware or don't know how to use Keepa, I highly suggest it. It is arguably more essential than just the sales estimator extensions. So I'll drop a link below that you can go check out the Keepa crash course video that I did. Strongly advise you to learn Keepa before buying any product. No way around that. Unequivocally, one of the most useful tools when you're doing online arbitrage is Keepa charts, and learning Keepa charts is essential. Okay, then moving forward, another really slept on function of SellerAmp is the Google Sheet export. So I'll run through quickly how to use it, but just to summarize, you are able to link a Google Sheet where you can export your purchases with one click of a button. For example, if I found this product for this X amount right here, which is going to be 80 theoretically for sales, for example purposes, we're going to use $80 as the cost price, and we're going to assume that we're going to be doing FBA. So I have that toggled on. And small and light, no, this is not going to be available to use small and light programs. So that's going to be saying no. So it'll include all the referral fees and the fulfillment FBA fees. Now, I would just click this button right here that I set up. I click it and it will go and send all this information, such as the cost price, sales price theoretically, to my Google Sheet that I have linked. So instead of logging it on a spreadsheet manually, perhaps you want to reference it later before you put it into another logging software like Inventory Labs. You would click this button, which is a spreadsheet that I linked called SAS by sheet, and then boom, it goes over there to that sheet. So to make a sheet, I'll just go over it really quickly. It doesn't take long at all. You can fast forward this part if you already have it linked or want to move right along. Okay, so I'm now on the SellerAmp dash. This is after you log in and you have an account with them. And by the way, if you want a link to purchase SellerAmp, that link is also below. I think they have a free trial, so you can try it out first, but I guarantee you're gonna like it a lot. Really cheap, really useful. So to make the sheet, once you're here, click where it says Google Sheets up here. Then you're gonna click Set Up. Then we're gonna click New Sheet. But before we do new sheets, before we do that new sheet, you're gonna want to connect to your Google account. So after you've connected your Google account, you're just gonna click New Sheet. Then you're gonna select your order of headings as far as the information SellerAmp will pull from that listing that we were just looking at, right, or any other listing. And then you wanna move it around, you can. I just kind of have it by default or whatever it was. The product name, it'll put the ASIN, it'll put the Amazon URL, your cost price, which was 80 that we were using, the theoretical sale price that you'll sell it for, which is I think around 130, 129 that we had it, and all the other information like profit and profit margin that we were looking at. And then just click Save, and it'll create that sheet. You can change the title here too. Right now I have just SAS by sheet 5 by default. So we'll call this example 1. So I hit save, and boom, it made it. So now if I go over here, let me refresh. And boom, there it is, example 1, right? So now if I click it, let me double check, make sure. So I have $80 here, all this information. We'll say we're gonna get buy box at 130. Loading, done, right? Check mark indicates that it successfully sent that information over to that sheet. Example 1, you can see that it sent all that information conveniently right here, and we can go to something else, let's say, and then if we found something else, let's say this red one over here, this red 270, Air Max 270 shoe, $80 is the cost price that we found it online as well. We would just scroll down and we click the button again, and we just send that all the information that we saw to the next row on that Excel example 1 sheet. All right. So that concludes this little section on the Google Sheet export function. Let's move on to the next function. Now, if we go down to this next panel, that's also pretty helpful. You'll see all the total offers. You can see which one of them are FBM offers, which one of them are FBA sellers. And this could also help you out to know how much stock they have in case you wanted to wait till they stock out so you can sell it for a higher price, or perhaps you want to see if you have a chance at selling FBM. This could be a good indicator that if these guys are out here also having offers out, merchant fulfilling, maybe you also have the chance of winning the buy box with a FBM offer. Now, if you want more information on how to win the buy box, what are your chances and how to increase your chances of winning the buy box versus other sellers, I'll link that video as well. That's a whole nother animal and a whole other kind of information that's not going to be relevant for this video. But if you are interested more in depth on how to win the buy box, check that out, I suggest. All right, so as far as all the panels on here, those are probably the most relevant ones that I use on a daily basis. Now that wraps up SellerAmp information. Now the best way to thoroughly demonstrate how I use SellerAmp while I source will be to actually go and look for a product online. So this is going to start the part of this video where I live source while using SellerAmp, and I will see you on the other side. All right, so a method I'll go over is called storefront stalking. In other words, going onto another seller's store in hopes to find an item that they're selling to also emulate and source that product to sell it in our store as well. So we will of course use SellerAmp as well as Keepa in conjunction to confirm various data points on its Amazon product listing. And since we've been using this Nike shoe, the Air Max 270, we're gonna stay here. However, normally I start out on a good lead, but either way, if you don't have a good lead, no fear, it doesn't really matter. So let's get into it. If you want to see me go over this method in much more detail, by the way, just a reminder that link to that video is in the description below. All right, so first thing, how would we analyze a listing? Real quick before we get into it, how would we analyze a listing? Well, the sales rank that's shown over here and the sales volume that SellerAmp gives us tells us it's doing an X amount of sales per month. So for this shoe, including all its variation, you see in the alerts here it says variation, it does about almost 5,000 sales a month. Now this is just a projected sales volume based on the sales rank that Amazon gives us, or gives SellerAmp rather. And more than likely, if we manage to get this particular item or any item to Amazon, we should be able to get a percentage of this sale, the total sales volume. This shoe in particular would be tough to profit on, I'll be honest with you, because right here, $129.95, that's the buy box right now, around $130. And honestly, this colorway, this white colorway of the Air Max 270 retails at $160 in most stores online. So for someone to come and sell this at around $130, right now it tells me either they found this shoe at a big sale, maybe earlier this month, during December, during the holidays, or the holiday sales rather. And, finding it for $80, which is our cost price that we have right now, which is, half of 160 is $80. So 50% off is what we would have to find it at to get it at this 27% ROI. I'll be the first to tell you that earlier of December, during the holiday sales, I was able to find many Nike shoes at 50% off. So this person was selling it, he or she could very well have was able to find this $80 price for this Air Max. But, there are 55 other sellers on this Air Max 270. So unless you're finding this particular colorway and the size of this Air Max 9.5, we're looking at this discounted $80 price, or even at, so this, if I put 80 here, so we'll find that it's 28% ROI. At $90, it's kind of pushing it, right? It's only $12, and you still got to account for shipping fees. You got to account for tax if you're sending it to a state that does include taxes. And with a shoe like this, there might be a high return rate. So at the end of the day, this might not be a good profit margin for a Nike shoe. So it would be tough to compete here. Nonetheless, we will go into these other various sellers on this listing and see which seller stores are worthwhile to check out. So I'll just jump into that right now. So if I click right here, we can see all the other sellers. At the top is the buy box. So this seller has the buy box right now. Now, if we scroll down here, we see this seller, time for deals, has a bunch of reviews. So this would indicate that he or she may or may not be a wholesaler. Getting this many reviews is indicative that they've done a bunch of sales. So if they've done a bunch of sales like this, more than likely they're a wholesaler. So going onto their store would not be worthwhile because they're probably selling items that they're getting for prices that it would be really impossible for you to get, and what they're selling at for you, it might be hard to profit on. So keep scrolling down. Right here, 95 reviews. This is a pretty good store right here, 95 reviews. This indicates to us that that person is successful selling on Amazon, or else they wouldn't have this many reviews, So this is a good potential. Let's keep scrolling down here. This person just launched, so it's not really worth it to go onto their store. 35 reviews. This would be a decent seller store as well to check out. Anyways, you see what I'm looking for, right? 856 reviews, probably not the best store. Again, could be indicative that they're a wholesaler. So let's go to this 95 reviews. Click it. Okay, here's their storefront. We're going to click on visit this person's storefront. Now, just from the jump on the left side, you see that they only have 2 brands here, right? They have Nike and this other brand. But we can start here, right? So if we click on the SellerAmp extension, let me refresh. Sometimes it won't show this SellerAmp logo on here. Okay, so now we can click on this logo right here and it'll jump over and give us all the information instead of going on the listing itself, which to me, it saves a lot of time because now we're not having to jump to the listing, going back to their store and doing all this back and forth stuff, right? We save a lot of time by just clicking this little SellerAmp icon. Boom, right here we can look, scroll down, we can look at the Keepa. And as far as the Keepa, again, you can go look at my course, free video course on Keepa, but mainly I like to see not a lot of volatility on the price action. See how this is pretty stable. So if it's pretty stable like this, this means that when you get it or when you purchase the shoe, it goes to your prep center or to yourself, and then that time it takes to get to the Amazon warehouse, we can at least be reassured that the price should stay where it's at. The price more than likely will not tank. The demand and the price are going to hold strong. So when we get our unit to finally get to the preps or Amazon warehouse, which can take a while, again, you purchase the item, it takes a week to get to your house or the prep center, then it takes another few days or up to a week for Amazon to get it. Then they have to check in the item. There might be some FC transfers, who knows, right? So you have to play the long game here. And if this price is holding like this on Keepa, it could mean that it's a good buy, right? So let's keep scrolling down. Let's look for a good one. Let's see. Now, bear with me. Again, doing this, I know it can get a little boring. This kind of has a grind to it. And it's just one of those things where it's the best way to do it, in my opinion, if you're first starting out, because then you get to go through all these different Keepa charts, look at what different Keepa charts various listings have, and learn from it. All right, let's see. Okay, right here. See, you see this, you gotta refresh sometimes. Nike Vapor Edge Pro 360. So a really cool feature that SellerAmp has is this little G right here. If you click it, it goes straight over to Google. That's probably something I should have mentioned earlier, I apologize. But you can click here to go to the Amazon listing itself. And then you can click here to straight up search on Google. Now, we can scroll down. I would like to go look at the Amazon listing just because I want to see how many number of sellers there are. Now, you can do it here too. If you scroll down here, 31, that's a lot, right? 31's a lot. However, it's not horrible if the sales volume warrants that you can get a good share. Like for instance, this has 1,028 sales volume. However, if there's only 31 sellers on that listing, you can divide 1,000 something divided by 33. And if that sales per seller makes sense, then it's not a horrible buy. However, if this had the 31 sellers, but only 100 sales per month, then your item might be sitting for a while, right? And the name of the game is really having things fly off Amazon, for me at least, having a mixture of slow-moving products with high ROI, as well as fast-moving products with a slower ROI, combined together, a conglomerate. You can have a pretty good numbers overall, right? So, okay, so let's click this G right here, and it'll search that on Google. I'll click shopping. All right, Nike has it. Is it the same one? Yep, same one. So click on Nike. Nike has it for $120. So I'll tell you straight up, this is from the very beginning, it's probably not going to be a good number. Negative, right? Buy box is $119. We haven't checked the size yet. Let me check for shoes. So I do a lot of shoes. Every size is different. Every size can have a really good buy box. Other size could have $104 on the size 8. Size 10, we're looking $120. So this isn't a good buy, right? As far as this Nike price that it's given us. Shields $120. Okay, so let's go back. I'm X out of here. We're back at their store. I think we should go back and look at another store because all they have is Nike, and we want to look for something else a store that has a more variety of brands. So we're not just pigeonholed to one category. Right here, 35 ratings. Let's click on this person. Visit their storefront. And this might be a good one. Okay. Nike men's club pullover hoodie. Let's do a size medium. See if you can click medium. All right, medium is $41. Large is $84.90. Almost 3,000 sales per month. Only 14 sellers. So if we can get this at a good price, this would be an amazing buy in my opinion. Just 14 sellers. Almost 3,000 sales per month. Albeit this variation. It has the medium and the large. Let's click G. Search. Okay. Right off the bat, this looks appealing, right? $42 at Academy. Let's click it. Hopefully they have a large. Ooh, they do have a large. Large, $42. Let's check it out. Bang, bang. $20 is profit margin. Okay, so this could be a good buy. Now, you want to make sure this is, in fact, the right product. So let's go back over to Academy. Nike logo on the top right. Nike logo top right. Sportswear Club pullover hoodie. Sportswear Club pullover hoodie. The product title is not as significant, but it's good to know that it is the same title on here. And scroll down. Any details about the product, you can scroll down. Kangaroo pocket, hood with drawstrings. The drawstrings is important. There's a drawstring here. Has a drawstring present in the other one. But yeah, I do tend to look at this details just to make sure things add up. And especially if you're looking for items that claim they're dry fit on Amazon, you want to make sure you are purchasing also an item, sending it over as dry fit because customers will expect it to be dry fit if it says so. So this matches up. Real quick, we are going to go down and look at the Keepa chart. So this is a large, like we said. I usually, so you can see here, the price is around $70 around November. It held pretty well. Went down to 65 for a little bit. You see all the sellers dropping off. More than likely, everyone was buying this hoodie for gifts. So sellers were going out of stock. Now we're going down to just 14 sellers. At one point, we had almost 31 sellers at the middle of November. So it's really good just to analyze these Keepa charts. Also the sales rank. You see the sales rank. The sales were slowing down because the sales rank was increasing. But boom, right at October 8th, it soared down to 29,000 sales rank, meaning people were just starting to buy this hoodie at a high rate versus even just a week ago. And then that rank kept decreasing, meaning sales kept increasing pretty much for the holidays. And you can tell December 24th, that's kind of where it got. Around December 24th, a little bit before, is where it got the most sales. As far as its sales rank was the least right before Christmas. Then people realized they're not going to be able to get this hoodie in time for Christmas, so it slowed down. And then now it's going right back up because people aren't buying as much. But they will also still buy in January. You know, people do have gift cards that they got for Christmas, so there is that. But it is important to look at the Keepa chart. Don't just look at the sales history and the number of sellers, right? You want to look at how the price has been, how the sales rank has been in respect to the sales. Now let's go over to data and we want to go check the offers tab. I do this every single time just to confirm with myself that these numbers make sense to what SellerAmp gives me. You know, these are two different companies, two different extensions. So it's always good to check both, especially with variations. At least with variation, you know, SellerAmp gives you this big old number with these variations included. So this is good to have as a backup. Well, for me, it's actually the first thing I look at more than Keepa. but you can toggle last 30 days and you can see for this particular ASIN, meaning for this particular large, because the medium is going to be another ASIN, right? So large is an ASIN, medium is an ASIN. So for this particular ASIN, this person sold 189 units in the last 30 days. This person sold 71 units in the last 30 days. This person sold 14 units in the last 30 days. So 200 roughly plus 70, you have 270 right here plus another 14. We have about 285 plus 10-ish, 295. So we can say 300 sales have been executed by these sellers in the last 30 days. 300 is very different from this 3,000, right? So it's always good to look at both. Either way, this is a lot of sales from this particular ASIN. So if we can get it for this $42, it's a good buy. Now, we are going to be selling it by the time if we were to buy this right now from Academy, we'd probably get it to Amazon Warehouse after 2 more weeks. So let's see how this did in January. January did really good, $80, right? You know, that doesn't mean it'll necessarily be at $80 this January. However, it does play some sort of role as far as projecting what it will do. Maybe it'll also hold at this price. And even if, let's say right now the buy box is 83. Let's look at these other sellers here. Other sellers have at 66, 68, 74. So, but you know, 66, 68, 74, then we jump right back to 80, 82. So this is where SellerAmp comes back into play. We can scroll down here and we can see these other sellers. So the guys that are selling for these low prices, 66, 68, 74, 111. So this is probably going to go out of stock here soon. We're going to go right back to 80. But we want to always expect the worst case scenario, which isn't really even the worst case scenario. But let's say this ended up dropping down to 75 by January. We'd still get almost a 30% return, right? So not a bad buy. And there you have it. This is all it is to it. It takes a long time to grind and find these products, but you will find them. But this is just in one way of how I find products with reverse sourcing or storefront stocking with SellerAmp in conjunction with Keepa. Another way is manual sourcing. I'm not going to get into that. If you want more information on that and using discounted gift cards and using coupons, please view that video below. But just to briefly go over, we have Rakuten here. It's going to give me 1% cash back. You can use discounted gift cards as well on raise.com to get you a better cost price. Like I can probably drop this down to probably 39, you know. Academy can give you intro discounts as well. So you can look into that. And that's it. That's really it. Like I said, with storefront stocking, you're just going back and forth. It's a grind sometimes. It can get boring. But those that do get through and get all these profitable ASINs, it is well worth it because let's say it take you an hour to find one really good ASIN. Well, if it's a replenishable, meaning you can buy it every month, now you're able to buy something every single month and you wouldn't have to be constantly sourcing for that unit, right? And the item is able to be purchased over and over again. And if you start adding more and more of these, then bang, you can have 5 good replenishables every month, 10 replenishables every month. It just takes time to find these items. That is about it, guys. Thank you. I'm going to jump back over to me and give you a little bit more information. All right, thanks for watching the video, guys. If it did help you out, please do drop me a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll drop other links below, such as my Keepa Crash Course video and my overall Amazon FBA course video. Now, if you do want to holler at me, I'll drop my socials as well. Instagram is probably the best way, as well as Twitter. And you can also comment below. I will read them if you have other suggestions or I just have regular questions. Now, until next time, I will see you guys later.